I can be violent. I can be that guy. That's part of who I am.
Batista Bomb!
Dave Bautista, a man like a mountain, as famous in wrestling as he is successful in Hollywood. He loves the spotlight, and he hates it at the same time. There are two sides to Batista, the loud one and the quiet one, the faithful and the unfaithful, the brave and the fearful, the peaceful and the violent.
I want to be a peaceful, passive person. That's my nature, but if it calls for it, I'll punch you in the face.
Batista's personality is a jigsaw puzzle. In this documentary, we put the pieces together and peek behind the shiny facade of the megastar, at crushing setbacks and hard-earned tears of joy, at a life story both shocking and fascinating.
I have a love-hate relationship with my lifestyle. Girls were always an issue.
He always looked kind of sad.
I had no future until I started wrestling.
It didn't go according to plan.
Their rivalry was actually not the stuff in the ring. It was behind the scenes.
I thought I was going to lose my job.
I've never seen David cry so hard.
When Batista talks about his dark past in interviews, he doesn't pull any punches. His childhood was marred by violence and poverty.
Man, we had nothing. A lot of times we just ate any kind of food.
Dave's parents split when he was just 1 year old. Dave never got to know his father. He was like a stranger.
I don't know what it's like to have a father. I just don't know him. He doesn't know me. I just don't have a connection with him.
Growing up, Dave Batista never really had a place to call home. He shared one mattress with his sister and mother in a damp basement room.
We actually lived in the basement of this house, so right where that door is, that's where we live.
Right outside the door, gangs are shooting up the block. There are bloodstains on the sidewalk. No place for a child.
Outside was scary. DC, 80s, 90s, horrible place. It was really dangerous.
I think I saw and witnessed a lot more than most other kids.
I've been in the middle of people shooting in the street.
Growing up on the rough side of town left its marks on Dave Batista. It shaped him. He had the wrong friends, the wrong role models, so he made the wrong decisions.
I was a product of my environment. I was never a violent kid, but I got in a lot of fights. I was never a thief, but I stole stuff.
As a teenager, Dave went off the rails. He and his buddies got into carjacking. His aggressive behavior often backfired. He'd beat up his schoolmates or kids in the neighborhood, and he'd get beaten up too. His mother started to worry more and more about him.
I saw it getting worse and worse, and I thought, my son's gonna either end up dead or in prison.
Dave always struggled to find his place, socially. He always felt different.
I was real shy. I was an introvert. Yeah, I always had a little bit of, I think, social anxiety.
School was a constant uphill battle for Dave. He had ADD and struggled especially with reading. He often found himself in difficult situations. Sometimes he'd have to read aloud in class, and Dave would sit there, sweating, a bundle of nerves. The letters, black and white before him, but he couldn't make sense of them. Dave became an outcast. School was torturous to him, so he stopped going.
Didn't finish high school. I just didn't want to be there. I just felt like, I don't know, such an outcast at school.
He tried living with his dad for a while, but it felt like living at a stranger's place. Dave still didn't have a home. Then when he was 17, he got into a nasty fight with his father, one that had serious consequences.
My dad kicked me out of the house. Back then, it was really just a matter of making money to buy food and kind of support myself as best as I could.
I don't know too many kids that age who are out on their own, without a family to support them.
Batista was thrown into the deep, and early on, he was practically homeless, spending every day just trying to keep his head above water. Dave's address changed daily, surfing one couch after another, and every day he walked the gray streets alone. With nothing else to do, he started hitting the gym, and hitting it hard. Bodybuilding became his one focus in life. It gave him the direction he'd been craving. He wanted to bulk up and never be on the losing end of a street fight again. Batista has the perfect genetics for bodybuilding. Still, he turned to steroids. He talked about it in interviews and in his book. He packed on muscle at a breakneck pace. His gym buddies were blown away. No matter what time of day or night they showed up at the gym, there was Dave pumping iron. Working out became his drug, an addiction that would never let go of him.
I look at Dave and he had to be the biggest human I'd ever seen in my life.
His physique earned Dave respect. Still, he kept getting into scrapes and some very nasty, violent fights. One was so bad, it landed him behind bars.
I got in a few fights where people may have lost some teeth. And so I was in jail, and I just knew I just didn't belong there.
In jail, Batista realized he was on the wrong path. He'd had run-ins with the law before, but this time, he really screwed up. When he got out, he started working as a bouncer.
Work all night. I'd go to the gym. I'd sleep all day. I'd go back to the gym. And then I'd work all night again.
In 1990, something happened that turned Batista's life upside down. Dave became a father. He tied the knot with his girlfriend Glenda, and 2 years later, they welcomed their second daughter into the world. Dave was in over his head as a dad, but it finally pulled him out of his life of crime. He wanted to step up and provide for his kids. Then, another woman entered his life, Angie.
I just thought he was absolutely amazingly beautiful. I really did. I've never seen anyone of his size, and I always had interest in bodybuilding and things like that. He always looked kind of sad. And I just remember thinking to myself, I'm going to make him smile.
They met at the gym. Soon enough, Batista was cheating on the mother of his children with Angie. But that's not the end of it.
They actually caught us together. It was actually probably the most embarrassing moment of my life.
That was the nail in the coffin for Batista's first marriage. From then on, Angie and he were joined at the hip. Back at the gym, fate had one more chance encounter in store for him. Mr. Perfect and Road Warrior Animal were working out when they noticed Dave. They were blown away by his physique and encouraged him to give wrestling a shot. Dave was already pushing 30, much older than most wrestling prospects. But an idea had taken hold, a dream. He wanted to become a wrestler.
I had no future until I started wrestling. I had nothing. I was broke and penniless and I had no goals or ambition.
Batista started wrestling at a WCW tryout. The trainer, Dwayne Bruce, couldn't stand the sight of him. He said Dave would never make it as a wrestler. This remark cut him deeply. Dave is still angry about it to this day.
I was livid. Who the hell is that little midget, with a big mouth going to tell me that I'm not good enough, that I can't do it?
Dave set his mind on proving all the critics and haters wrong, but his shy nature often ruined his chances. After a show once, he was asked for an interview by a major news channel. He wanted to do it, but he just couldn't. Moments before, he started shaking uncontrollably. He had so much anxiety, it made him want to throw up. He craved the spotlight, but at the same time, it made him sick. When WWE held an event in his hometown, Batista did something completely unexpected. He broke into the Capital One Arena, hoping to catch the eye of some of the bigwigs backstage. He cunningly sneaked past security and spent multiple hours looking for Vince McMahon or talent chief Jim Cornette in the hallways of the arena. Eventually, he was caught and thrown out. If he was going to make it to WWE, he had to take a different path. He started training with Afa Anoa'i, uncle of Roman Reigns and wrestling legend.
My job is to make sure that when I see good talents out there, to let them know, and I did just that.
But in Afa, Batista didn't just find a wrestling trainer. He found the father figure he had never had.
Every day I was there, he treated me like a son.
It was hard to bring that animal out of him because it was that quiet.
Afa recognized Batista's huge potential and tipped off Vince McMahon. That's how Dave signed a talent contract with wrestling market leader WWE, around the same time as John Cena.
He was massive, unbelievably powerful. He had the most dominating presence.
At first, the creative team didn't have big plans for Batista. They saw him as just another run-of-the-mill powerhouse. Those were a dime a dozen in wrestling at the time, but muscle alone doesn't guarantee success in stardom.
There was people with the WWE, John Laurinaitis, who wanted to fire me.
There was more than a few occasions where I thought I was going to lose my job.
But Batista proved himself and made it to the TV tapings. On SmackDown, he played Devon's bodyguard, a role he didn't excel in and didn't feel comfortable with. But Ric Flair and Triple H saw something bigger in him. They brought him into their group, Evolution.
Evolution is a mystery.
Dave found true friends in Ric Flair and Triple H, but some veterans couldn't stand him. In their eyes, he was disrespectful.
It was hard for me to go up and shake someone's hand. And a lot of guys took it the wrong way. They thought I was an arrogant person, a standoffish person, and I wasn't at all. I was just very introverted.
An introvert was considered a dirty word in the WWE at the time.
Dave found himself in a business full of extroverts, packed with larger-than-life personalities who were all completely full of themselves, for whom self-doubt and low confidence were foreign concepts. Dave felt like a fish out of water. He wasn't like them.
A lot of times I would just separate myself from the locker room and just be somewhere by myself, and not because I felt like I was too good for everybody. I just didn't want to be around anybody. I just wanted to be alone. It has its repercussions, because I think when you're an introverted person who is constantly bombarded with attention, the aftermath of that is that you just want to crawl under a rock and hide.
His theme song, I Walk Alone, fit him like a glove.
I'm sick of all these people talking out their heads. I've never understood a damn thing that they said. A place where no one follows me, I walk alone.
I was having a lot of anxiety even before I went in there, and I don't know why. It's a pressure that I put on myself.
He hated media appearances, terrified of misspeaking or saying the wrong thing. He dreaded autograph sessions, fearing no one would show up, that no one cared about him. He hated the hours before the show, the agonizing wait and the fear of messing up. But once in the spotlight, Batista delivered. Triple H went to bat for him backstage. As a result, Batista got more and more big wins, and in 2005 was even slated to win one of WWE's biggest matches, the Royal Rumble. At least that was the plan.
Dave is supposed to win the Rumble. It was a great plan on paper, but it didn't go according to plan.
Batista hoisted Cena up for his finisher, but with so much momentum that they both tumbled over the top rope to the outside, simultaneously, so there was no winner.
It wasn't written in the script they'd go over at the same time. If you wanted to write it in the script, you couldn't do it any better than the way they both landed.
WWE CEO Vince McMahon reacted on the fly, rushing out to restart the match. As he tried to slide into the ring, he tore both quadricep tendons in his legs and couldn't get up. None of this was planned. It was all real. In the end, the match was restarted and Batista won, but he blamed himself for the mistake. This night showed him how quickly plans can go awry in wrestling, how one mistake can derail everything. There was nothing but self-doubt in his mind. He expected to lose his job and went to see Vince in his office.
And I walk into his office, and he's sitting, he's got his crutches beside him, he's all bandaged up, and he just starts laughing. And I was like, "You're not gonna fire me?" I loved it. It was real.
Although he wasn't fired, this moment haunted him. Batista kept having flashbacks to this mistake. It shook his confidence. But there was no time for insecurity. His mentor, Triple H, wanted to establish Batista as a fresh star with a big win at WrestleMania.
Going into WrestleMania 21 to say that I was a ball of nerves that day would be a huge understatement. I barely slept that week.
Of course, Batista couldn't let it show. Millions of people saw him playing an unbreakable destroyer on TV.
I will not be intimidated. It's all about the game and how you play it. Quota game got played.
Just before Batista stepped onto the stage, the night of WrestleMania, he had flashbacks to the mistake at the Royal Rumble. But one step into the spotlight was enough to silence all his doubts. The adrenaline hit him like a drug, sending him into a full rush. Batista won the big gold and became world champion. Still in the ring, he got emotional. Then when he got backstage, he broke down in tears. His wife Angie was waiting for him, and they shared a big hug. It was Batista's big night, but he made this night her big night. In the backstage area, he got down on one knee and proposed to Angie. The two had already been married for 7 years at this point, but for the first proposal, Dave didn't have a ring. He wanted to do it again. He wanted to do it right. But life as world champion was anything but right for his marriage. His life was that of a megastar, complete, with all its dark sides.
It was really at that time when my family life just, especially my marriage, just really started to fall apart. It was really bad. I was never home.
It's hard to connect when someone's home, a few days out of the whole month, not even the week.
I was the guy who was always too shy to talk to girls, but all of a sudden had girls, throwing themselves at me.
Batista focused on his wrestling career. Then, after the grueling shows, the physically and emotionally demanding matches, he went looking for a different kind of thrill, the nightlife. The typical party night started with him and his wrestling buddies hitting their hotel rooms to freshen up. Then it was off to the limousine, to the hottest clubs in town. As a celebrated WWE star, Batista was often recognized by fans and promoters, which not only got him free entry into the VIP lounge, but also exclusive perks. The drinks kept on coming, champagne, whiskey, and shots en masse. In this world of strobe lights and thumping basses, life as a family man seemed a million miles away.
What I wanted was a family. And family, the dad has to be there. I did become resentful. There was a part of me that started getting angry.
While Angie tossed and turned in an empty bed at home, Dave was surrounded with other women. Batista attracted female admiration, not just as a wrestling superstar, but also due to his imposing presence. Flirty encounters, selfies with fans, and brief romances. Batista enjoyed this attention. Many women found it thrilling to be near a man who could be so intimidating in the ring, and yet so charming and approachable in private.
I lived a fast life. Girls were always an issue. I partied way more than I ever had in my life and way more than I ever should have in my life.
But these wild nights came at a price. The next morning often had more in store than a hangover. It was a reality check, the life of a rolling stone, with a packed schedule and under constant pressure to deliver. Dave didn't really have a home. His address changed on a daily basis. His kids struggled to cope with their father's absence.
I don't really get to see him that often, so that part sort of sucks because he's always working. It's really tough.
Eventually, his oldest daughter, Keelani, couldn't take it anymore, and she ran away from home. Dave writes about it in his autobiography, describing it as one of the toughest times in his life. At 17, he had been kicked out and driven away by his father. Now he felt like he was the father driving his child away, and he was doing it simply by not being there. Keelani lived with friends just like her father did back when his home was no longer a home for him. He saw the bad influences his daughter was exposed to, drugs, a teenage pregnancy. Dave became a grandpa in his 30s. It shocked him. When he told his colleagues, they couldn't believe it. The balance between his career and his family was so far off center.
He was trying to do what he could to provide a life for his family that I couldn't provide for him.
Everything changed for Dave when he met Eddie Guerrero. The warm-hearted Latino liked him, broke through his shyness, and built a deep friendship with him. The two were like brothers, and Dave's relationship with Eddie gave him direction. Eddie had learned the hard way how important family is, as he himself had sacrificed time with his family for too long, pursuing his wrestling dream. Eddie's advice made Dave a better husband and father.
Eddie was so many things for Dave. And for the first time, I felt that Dave was getting back on track. With family, with life, with priority, with work.
On November 12th, Dave got a call from Eddie. He told him how much he meant to him and how much he enjoyed working with him. It was the last time Dave heard the warm, helpful, wise voice of his friend. The next day, Eddie Guerrero died from heart problems. The wrestling lifestyle, overexertion, steroids, and drugs had taken his life.
I've never seen David cry so hard in my whole entire life, ever. Out of all the things that we've been through, I have never, ever seen him cry that hard.
I don't know, it felt like someone just sucked the life out of me.
And I think he knew that. He lost that guidance.
Dave fled even more into his new lifestyle. More matches, more alcohol, more parties, and more women. His marriage to Angie fell apart and they got divorced. He had never been a bigger star. All the lights were set on him. And at the same time, it was one of the darkest periods in his life. Depression took over. Dave's frustration was obvious to his colleagues too. In an interview with The Sun, Batista spoke disrespectfully about his colleagues at Raw. He said SmackDown was the better show. Raw was hard to stomach. He claimed the wrestlers there lacked passion. These comments earned him a lot of criticism, from Vince McMahon all the way to The Undertaker. For those who never liked Batista to begin with, this unprofessional behavior was a godsend. They criticized him and said that a top star should not make comments like that.
And even though they're all WWE, they're different groups. And Dave was not welcomed.
In 2006, Batista and Booker T butted heads.
I haven't seen Booker and I had a lot of heat with one another.
During a SummerSlam promo shoot, Booker accused Dave of being arrogant. Then, he challenged him to a real fight. The two brawled in an empty room. There was no clear winner, but the conflict quickly became a hot topic in the locker room.
He didn't make himself very welcomed by his actions. It was quickly becoming a huge failure.
Batista also had real issues with John Morrison. Morrison had been in a long-term relationship with Melina until she started an affair with Batista. Rumors circulated backstage, and Morrison and Batista had it out. But Dave eventually came to terms with being hated by some colleagues. He realized the envy he faced was a symptom of his success. At least that's how he felt about it.
You go from being a very popular guy in the locker room to being a very disliked guy in the locker room because, everybody's jealous of the spot.
Boys, we're not here to make friends. We're here to make money. Well, this is business. You got to choose, man. Do you want to be popular or do you want to be successful?
The only way for Batista to silence the critics was through great performances. In his feud against The Undertaker, he impressed everyone with highly praised matches, especially at WrestleMania.
I think it opened a lot of eyes and I finally just proved myself to a lot of people.
Dave really turned it on that night. He really became a major player.
Batista lost the match, but won in many aspects. Behind the scenes, there was another rivalry brewing that also had a real core: the feud with John Cena.
Their rivalry was actually not the stuff in the ring, it was behind the scenes.
We were counterparts and very competitive at the same time.
The conflict arose from the question of who of them was the bigger star. There could only be one figurehead to flagship the company. This top star is usually the one with the biggest title and the biggest paycheck. Batista wanted to be that top star. However, WWE was betting mainly on Cena.
Dave loved that the company considered John to be the number one. He was just like, absolutely, if the company sees John as the top guy, I'm all for it. I'll be here in catering. Okay, I'll give her a real answer. Dave considered himself just as equally talented and just as equally money-making as John Cena was. That was a point of contention for Dave.
I didn't feel like I was getting fair opportunities. I felt like I was on the level of anyone in that company as far as drawing a crowd, drawing money.
Dave felt left out. John Cena got the big roles in WWE movies. He was supposed to be the new Mr. WWE, the biggest star of this generation, and Cena fit perfectly into this era when wrestling was geared more towards children, the so-called PG era. A more family-friendly approach, reducing violence, blood, and adult content, focusing on younger audiences, and promoting merchandising while emphasizing cleaner characters and storylines. John Cena had no problem with that. He was the perfect poster boy for family-friendly entertainment. His message of never give up resonated with younger fans.
John Cena was the type of wrestler that I never wanted to be. He was flashy, he was very entertaining, but I didn't want to be that guy.
Batista, the character, and I suppose the human being as well, is not a TV PG kind of guy. Like, he's an adult character on a kid's show.
The problem came to a head during a steel cage match against Chris Jericho. Batista decided to blade, cutting his forehead with a razor to add more drama to the match. Vince McMahon, however, was far from thrilled. Not only did he impose penalties on everyone involved in the match, but he also fined Batista $100,000. Batista paid both his own fine and those of the others. But later, on Chris Jericho's podcast, he shared how devastating this development was for him. The fine had destroyed his love for wrestling and showed him that nothing would ever be the same. Batista decided to leave the company. He fulfilled his contract and faced his biggest rival, John Cena, one last time at Over the Limit 2010. He gave it his all in this fight, taking heavy bumps and severely injuring his spine. It was the worst injury he'd ever had. Backstage, he felt numbness in his legs. Surgery was a must. In the summer of 2010, Dave had no job. For years, he had earned millions, but now he suddenly found his bank account in a steep decline.
I'd been poor my whole life, and all of a sudden I'm making millions of dollars. I didn't know how to deal with that. I had no idea. And so I made all the common mistakes I think that a lot of professional athletes make when all of a sudden they've got all this money, they don't know what to do with it. I bought stupid crap I didn't need.
His lavish lifestyle was a big part of the problem. Expensive cars, luxurious mansions, and wild party nights had left deep holes in his pockets. He didn't just splurge on himself. He was generous with friends and family. All this led to his being bankrupt, again, broke, just like in his pre-wrestling days. Dave's house was foreclosed. His dream house, his first real home, wasn't his anymore. He had to put all his eggs in one basket: Hollywood. He tried his hand at acting, but without much success.
I've seen bad actors and I've made fun of bad actors, but now all of a sudden I'm that bad actor that people are going to be making fun of.
There were situations on set where fellow actors would go over the script with Batista. Dave sat there, unsure of himself, sweating, the letters black and white before him, but he couldn't make sense of them. But unlike back in high school, he was open about it. He apologized and explained his reading difficulties, something he had been too shy to do in the past. Then he got the role of a lifetime. In 2013, Dave played the muscle-bound Drax in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. The role was his breakthrough. After filming, he celebrated his return to WWE. Before his big appearance at the 2014 Royal Rumble, His nerves were shot once more. He was afraid that something could go wrong. And something did go wrong. Just before his entrance, the zipper on his boot broke. The crew managed to sew it back together just in time. Batista went out, dominated, and won the Royal Rumble. But the reaction was anything but expected. The fans booed him and criticized the decision, as they wanted to see Daniel Bryan come out on top. At WrestleMania 30, the fans got exactly that when Bryan won the world title in the main event. People weren't really interested in Batista. There was a lot of hate against him on social media. Unlike other wrestlers, he actually read it. All the unvarnished, harsh words about him and his performances shook his confidence. Unhappy with his comeback run, he stepped away from wrestling for the second time, but more doors opened in the acting business.
Hello, internet social media trolls out there. Kumail and I wanted to address the title of our new film, Stewart.
Dave loves his job as an actor. He sees himself as a storyteller, but the downsides of the show business still get to him.
I have a love-hate relationship with my lifestyle now. People who are in the film business in general, they're going somewhere to work for 6 or 7 months at a time. I can't hold down a relationship.
For decades, Batista's steadiest companion has been a deep loneliness, a homelessness. His life moves at a breakneck pace, but he never has time to settle for an arrival.
I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad provider. I'm not an unfaithful person. I just never home. I'm so lonely.
Dave now lives in another huge mansion, a property the size of 5 football fields surrounded by a big fence. But this house isn't a home to him. Time and again, he comes back after a long movie shoot to his private estate. But there is no light in the windows. There is no one home. There's no one waiting for him, no one to welcome him with a hug. In these moments, his depressive thoughts get the best of him. Batista was never able to completely conquer the darkness within him. Some of his tattoos tell of this story.
I got all kinds of tattoos, and some of them are cover-ups. Some are stories that have been covered up with other stories.
Tattoos cover up tattoos, or scars, painful memories from the past that sometimes still hurt today. The ink under his skin and the mountains of muscle are like a set of armor for him. Batista stepped into the ring one last time in 2019. By then, he was 50 years old.
But I don't feel 50. I joke about it a lot. I only notice I'm 50 when hot girls call me sir. Then I'm like, oh yeah.
His comeback on SmackDown was well received, but again, he was plagued by terrible fears of failure.
I've got those self-doubts going through my head. Am I in shape? How is my cardio going to be okay? Is my body going to hold up? I'm wrestling at 50 years old.
Batista was set to face Triple H in one big final match. Acting colleagues had advised against it. The risk of injury was too high. But for Batista, it was clear. He had to have this last big match.
If I had to go for the rest of my life not having this closure on my wrestling career, there would be an emptiness in my soul. I get the worst anxiety. It's terrible stage fright.
You get terrible stage fright?
Horrible stage fright. Yeah.
That's insane. I never would have guessed.
Yeah.
Nobody understood why I never liked getting to the building earlier, and this is why. Because all I do is sit around and stress.
Batista wasn't as good at blocking out the nervousness anymore. He was anxious. He stumbled over his words in promos and even during his entrance to the ring.
Never sees anything good enough. No matter how perfect it is, whether it's wrestling or acting, it's never good enough, and he chases that all the time.
But the match went according to plan. 15 years ago, Batista had defeated Triple H at WrestleMania. Now, Triple H defeated him. The balance was restored. Angie was waiting for him behind the curtain, just like she was after his big title win 15 years ago. The two are no longer married, but something inside them keeps them together.
I'm very proud of him. There was a lot of sacrifice along the way.
Dave was visibly relieved after the match. He had once again overcome his self-doubts. He was satisfied with himself and his performance.
And it's been a hell of a career. I'm very proud of it, proud of my career. I feel like I can retire in peace.
A lot of things have changed since the end of his wrestling career. Today, Dave Bautista is almost unrecognizable. He lost a lot of muscle mass for an acting role. He is no longer the giant powerhouse from wrestling. Dave feels good about this transformation. The last time he was this slim was when he was 19, back when he used to respond to big dreams and visions with a tired smile. But some things haven't changed. He loves the spotlight but hates it at the same time. He needs the quiet to prepare for the loud. He owns a mansion, but he is still searching for a home. When asked in an interview what the story of Dave Bautista is, this is his answer.
Poor kid who followed his dreams, chased his dreams. I feel proud.